Hey Retro community, how's everyone doing? Today we're going to cover the original Nintendo Game Boy Advance. The Game Boy Advance is a 32-bit handheld video game system developed to be the successor of the original Game Boy, all of its variations, and the Game Boy Color. It was released in 2001, first in Japan in March, then the US, Australia, and Europe in June, and then it was finally released in China in 2004 under the iQube brand. It has a new landscape or horizontal form factor, similar to that of the Game Gear. There were two follow-ups including the Game Boy Advance SP, which changed the design to a clamshell form factor and finally included the backlight, as well as the Game Boy Micro, which was a smaller version of the original and had more of a rectangular form factor. By the end of its lifetime, the GBA series sold over 81 million units around the world, of which just under 38 million were the original. It began as Project Atlantis, which was set to be a direct successor to the original Game Boy, including a portrait vertical form factor, but it was ultimately scrapped due to its bulky nature along with other technical difficulties, in favor of a project that was slated to ultimately replace the Game Boy Color. The GBA came with a 16.8 MHz 32-bit ARM7 compatible CPU, as well as a Sharp LR35902 CPU for backwards compatibility with the Game Boy and Game Boy Color. It also included 32 and 96 kilobytes of VRAM and 256 kilobytes of DRAM, dual 8-bit DAC for sound, plus the original Game Boy and Game Boy Color sound capabilities, and had a screen size of 2.4 inches by 1.6 inches at a resolution of 240 by 160 pixels, with the ability to display up to 512 or 32,000 colors depending on what mode the game is running in. And to round things off, it ran off of 2 AA batteries for up to 15 hours of gameplay, added 2 additional shoulder buttons, L and R, and came with a link port to allow multiple Game Boy Advances to connect together for multiplayer games. And there were adapters available to connect to older Game Boy Color and Game Boy systems, so you can play those multiplayer games as well. Being of the Game Boy lineage, it was backwards compatible with the Game Boy and Game Boy Color games, and retained the Game Boy Color's ability to colorize original GB games. It also continued Nintendo's recent foray into releasing different themed and colored consoles, ranging from a glacier blue, a purple, a white, a black, and others as well. There'll be a link below in the description to show you a full list of known themes and color releases. Being as powerful as it was, it received multiple ports and conversions of popular SNES games, some with enhancements, including Super Mario Advance, which was a port of the Super Mario All-Stars version of Super Mario Bros. 2, aka Super Mario USA, as well as Donkey Kong Country, Final Fantasy IV, known as Final Fantasy IV Advance, and many others. Other ports of the games contained within Super Mario All-Stars were also released, including Super Mario Bros. 3 and Super Mario World. Final Fantasy V and VI were also ported with the Advance moniker added to the title. Several video and movie titles were also released for playback on the Game Boy Advance, including Shrek, Pokémon, Dragon Ball GT, and others. Nintendo also released an add-on for the GameCube called the Game Boy Player, which allowed it to play pretty much all of Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games, similar to how the Super Game Boy allowed users to play Game Boy games on their televisions. The Nintendo DS and DSi could also play Game Boy Advance games, though they dropped support for classic Game Boy and Game Boy Color titles. The GBA was also given the ability to interface with the GameCube via the link port that allowed for additional functionality in some GameCube games, including Final Fantasy Chronicles and The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker, as well as several Pokémon games. Vistion created a portable DVD player with the ability to play Game Boy Advance games and was officially licensed by Nintendo. It was mainly sold in dealerships to be mounted in vehicles as an entertainment option for long road trips. With the original still lacking a backlight, many third parties released various lighting solutions akin to a desk lamp or a book light. Eventually, Nintendo added backlight capabilities with the release of the Game Boy Advance SP. The last revision of the Game Boy Advance, the Game Boy Micro, was released with a similar form factor to the original Game Boy Advance, just in more of a rectangular shape, and it lacked the ability to play classic and color Game Boy games. The GBA line ended in 2006 in Japan, 2008 in Europe and other PAL regions, and finally in 2010 in North America, though its legacy did live on through the Virtual Console service on both the 3DS and the Wii U. It remains to be seen if they will appear on the Switch either as ports or as part of the Nintendo Switch Online subscription service. There are several modern mods available for the GBA, including replacement screens with native backlight, replacement shells, and rechargeable battery packs, to name a few. So now I'm going to show off my original Day 1 release Game Boy Advance, including my original copy of Super Mario Advance. Yes, these are my original ones. I never sold them, I never lost them. I don't know how, but I do have them. I don't have the box for the console or for the game, unfortunately, though I do have the manuals. I don't have all of my original games, though I did keep a few, and you can see them here. And I hope to rebuild my collection as well as to add to it over time. I have absolutely whatsoever no plans to mod my original, as there are other solutions available. I also have no plans to part with it, as I want to try to keep it as long as I possibly can. Despite it lacking a backlight, it was a great handheld to own, though to be honest, there wasn't much competition, at least here in the US. And even when there was quote-unquote competition, the GBA was vastly superior. Chalk it up to the list of available games, nostalgia with previous Game Boy owners, or even just good old marketing. But the fact that even today people are still playing these games just show how much of an impact it had in the lives of gamers. So that's the original Game Boy Advance. Now I'm calling this part 1 because at some point I'm probably going to pick up an SP or something like that, or maybe I'll show off the Game Boy player, we'll see, and that will be a part 2 or maybe a part 3. But for today's video, that's it. Did you like it? If so, hit the thumbs up, and feel free to leave a comment below, maybe talking about your favorite Game Boy Advance game, or if you haven't played it yet or own one, what would you play if you did? If you didn't like the video, hit the thumbs down, but please leave a comment below explaining why so I can try to use that to help make improvements going forward. Thanks all, and I'll catch you later.